Hello and welcome once again to Talking Pictures Podcast. I'm your host David and joined with me as always my co-host Secret Agent B. Rogers. Brian, how are you today?
Let's dance. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues.
You excited to talk about the newest action spy thriller? No, well, maybe not thriller, but spy mystery that has hit our screens this week.
Are you talking about the new trailer that came out the other week with Henry Cavill? From celebrated acclaimed Britishman director.
Yes, my apologies. I'm jumping way too ahead there myself. Sorry. So hit us with the trailer of the week.
Yeah, as I was given a bit of foresight there, my first anticipated movie for 2024, The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, starring Henry Cavill, directed by Guy Ritchie. And this trailer is in total much better than the movie we just saw. No, that's just my opinion. I don't want to be too maliciously, but yeah, I like this trailer more than I like the movie we're discussing for this episode.
The trailer looked honestly like a lot of fun. Like Henry Cavill in it looks like he's having a great time, and he looks like he's playing a proper character.
Remember that signature iconic social media trend where he reloads his fists like a shotgun in that Mission Impossible trailer? Well, here in this trailer, he's going around holding a gun by his waist size and just shooting everything as if, he's stringing a guitar. You know the way you hold a guitar by your waist and you extend your arms? It looks like he's holding his signature machine gun in this trailer, and that's just going to be his signature move. At least I hope so, because he looks class. It's a proper character movie. It's a World War II movie about this ragtag ensemble just going full Inglourious Bastards on a couple of Nazis.
And he's joined by a couple of familiar faces. He's got Isa Gonzalez and Alan Richardson.
And Henry Golden.
And Henry Golding, okay. Henry Golden, yeah, he's... he had a lot of awards buzz about him there with May December, and then Alan Richardson we actually spoke about in our one of our bonus episodes, the fan casting episode. We picked him for our newest Batman, so it's good that we'll have Batman and Superman teaming up again in a Guy Ritchie film.
Yep, 100%. Definitely looking forward to it.
So before we go into our review of the new movie Argylle, directed by Matthew Vaughn, I think that it's fair to give a spoiler warning. We don't really give the spoiler warning as much anymore, but a spoiler warning for this movie here, because it's supposedly it's a mystery. Bigger the lie, bigger the spy. The identity of Agent Argylle is a secret. So if you haven't seen this movie, I recommend that you go and see it first before. Like, if you don't want it spoiled, if you don't really care about spoilers, then obviously stay with us. But there are going to be heavy spoilers for this, and I think that it's funny because you, Brian, knew the entire time what the plot of this movie was and who was going to be who. And it's interesting because the first trailer came out. And it only features footage from the first 25-30 minutes of the film.
Somewhat. There are a couple of shots that take place at the end that's in the trailer,
but nothing like of significant value, that would give away any kind of story beat or anything, because they wanted to keep it a secret. Yeah, well, David, do you want to get into the secret? Do you want to get into the spoiler, or will we build up to it? What do you want to do? No, I think it's the warning has been issued there now, so if you get spoiled, it's your own fault at this point. But
so what's the big reveal?
The big reveal is that the character of Ellie Conway, played by Bryce Dallas Howard, she is in fact the real Agent Argylle the entire time. If you can believe it. She got a hit. She supposedly got a hit in the head in a skating accident and is suffering from amnesia, as you all do. And she's been writing these books, and it's actually, they've been predicting the future, but in actual fact, it's been she's been reliving the past through her books. And we find out that she is Agent R. Kyle, Rachel Kyle, aka Argylle.
Don't believe you. No way.
It's funny because you knew about this the entire time. In the initial press release about this movie, it revealed the
Right, well, David, first of all, you watched this movie, and as soon as she says in the first 10 minutes of the movie, when she's reading her book and says, when I had that skiing accident, and just, you may as well just forget what she said for the rest of that dialogue, because all you're thinking is, she's Argylle. Yeah. That's the big twist. That's the big secret. The greater the spy, the bigger the lie. But you see, I remember when this movie was announced with its ensemble cast, and the synopsis was delivered, and it was read out. I'm paraphrasing, but it says, a spy who has amnesia starts writing books about spy novels, and they start to realize that the novels they write turn out to be real life events. So in my head I'm thinking, oh cool, Henry Cavill he's playing a Jason Bourne type. He's a spy, and he's a spy novel writer. He's an author, and I guess he has amnesia, and wait a minute, because when the trailer was released, it's Bryce Dallas Howard who's the author, and Henry Cavill is playing the fictional Argylle, a character within the book that's in the movie. So essentially he's not real, and all the other characters in the books not real. And I'm thinking, so Bryce Dallas Howard is the spy with amnesia. And then I thought, so cool, okay, so instead of Henry Cavill being the main spy leader, I guess that was sort of given to Sam Rockwell, male lead or second lead character in total, because okay, cool, it's a bit of I guess you're going for a more grounded, realistic approach, because you look at Henry Cavill, he's an actor who should play Bond. He fits that profile completely. He's very suave, he's got big broad shoulders, he dresses really well, he's very fancy looking, he's the proper poster child of Bond. Matthew Vaughn, who got him for the movie, said we need an actor who would be cast to play Bond and get him before he gets to play Bond, and that's Henry Cavill. Okay, great, but then you're juxtaposing that stereotype to the real world, which would be the likes of Sam Rockwell. When we first introduced him, he's got this long hair, beard, glasses, shabby clothes. He's that type of character where he puts baggage atop of shelving in a public transport, and his gut would be sticking out, exposed to a poor man or woman to, sir, excuse me, could you just like to step back for a second? That type of thing. Sandal wear and one of those type of situations, just something similar to, I don't know, Zach Galifianakis from Due Date, and just giving an example of what he actually is. But then, no, he's a spy, okay, cool. But you see, David, I'm watching this action scene that takes place in the train, and okay, so this guy, he's supposed to be the real life spy, and they keep referring to the concept and ideology and career in that of it being a spy. It feels like they're trying to, I think it's what they were doing here is what they were doing to identify the ideology of superheroes in the Glass movie that M. Night Shyamalan did, talking about superheroes and that whole thing. If you remember that movie, great, but if you don't, then that's just one example that's coming to my mind. But they keep referring to the life of a spy as if it's Mission Impossible. Now, think for a second, David. You think Mission Impossible, and you think the last couple of movies, right? When I see that, that's how I perceive the spy genre. That's how I like to see as the life of a spy in movies to be depicted, because it's grounded, it's real, it feels raw, it does provide entertainment as all movies should. But when I think of the idea that Matthew Vaughn says he wants to reinvent the spy genre, well, sorry buddy, that's what Tom Cruise is doing, and if it's not reinventing the genre, he's still doing a better job than what you did here in this movie, in my opinion. And back to the train, which I'm taking my time to get into it, but I just need to elaborate. When I'm thinking about the action sequences and the spy stuff and the spy tasks that they do in the Mission Impossible movies, I'm watching how it's done in the real life of Argylle, and it's no different than how it's depicted in the book world of Argylle. So in Argylle, in the book, as we're presented with Henry Cavill and John Cena and Ariana DeBose and Dua Lipa, it's a very heightened action reality. You can drive this truck over a bunch of building roofs, like it's Fast X, and no hurt or physical damage. John Cena can grab Dua Lipa by one hand as she strolls by 100 miles per hour going on a bike. And you know what I mean, heightened reality, high action, very ridiculous. But that is not juxtaposed to how the spy tasks and action and everything else in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're seeing, okay, Sam Rockwell, he's supposed to be like the opposite of Henry Cavill. So Henry Cavill's capable. So there's like 3 different guys will be shoving up against the wall, but he's holding them off with one arm, and he's just, fixes his nose, or like, he could be yawning. He's unfazed, or the fact that 3 guys are trying to take him down, it's just irrelevant to him. He can just smack him with the back of his hand, just like that. A bomb goes off right in front of him, he'll land on a chair or on something comfy. He's a perfect presentation of the classic suave spy, whereas Sam Rockwell would keep being, Sam Rockwell will land on his feet, but he'll like get a couple of bruises, he'll be clumsy, he'll if he's allergic to cats, he'll take a minute to sneeze while he's trying to take out a load of guys. And that whole scene where Bryce Dallas Howard is sitting in the bathroom of the train, and the door keeps opening and closing, and he's Sam Rockwell. He keeps being ambushed by these 2 women. He's got them in headlocks, or they were trying to be funny, but I didn't think it was funny. I thought it was just stupid. And another thing,
I get what you're saying. There should have been a very clear distinction between the heightened reality that Henry Cavill and the fictionalized Argylle was, and then it should have been a bit more nitty-gritty in the real world, because it just felt like in either way we were in a heightened reality.
Well, yeah, precisely.
Yeah, when the books are presented that way, like that he's the perfect spy, like what you're saying there, exactly, like that he's the perfect spy, he brushes everyone off, suave as anything, James Bond type.
Everything works for him in his way, no matter how difficult the circumstances, unlike Sam Rockwell. Like, if you punch Henry Cavill, as who's playing Argylle, nothing happens. Whereas if you punch Sam Rockwell, he'll get a bloody nose or he'll get a black eye. But it's still no different in the cinematography, in the editing, in the action, in the acting, in everything. That's why I'm trying to refer to real life world of Argylle to the Mission Impossible, because to me that is like you said, the nitty gritty. So overall, this movie, in my opinion, is just a cartoon. That's how I felt. I felt the same way, and I felt like that from the get-go, pretty much, because it opens within the fictionalized world of Argylle. Let's dance. Yeah, it opens. I'm sorry, I just keep saying that because the trailer, it just stuck with me. Yeah. So it opens with that whole scene, and then it is that whole fantastical depiction of the spy world. But then once we get into our real world and you get to that train sequence, it is very much a very similar kind of world. There is no clear distinction between it. It felt like and I don't know, like, it was clearly on purpose. It didn't really work well. The whole bit where she was, anytime that Sam Rockwell was fighting, she would
kind of switch between Sam Rockwell and Henry Cavill.
Yeah.
That was kind of funny to begin with, but then when it happened so often, and as well as that, they added this like CGI like blink that she was doing, and that just like that really annoyed me. I was like, okay, I get it. Like once you've done it 2 or 3 times, I know what it means. I know that Henry Cavill's not actually here, but it could have been done in a lot more of an interesting way of having someone pass by the camera or something like that, just like a fake cutaway or something.
Well, I suppose Matthew Vaughn is known for that, especially in how he executed that technique in the church scene in the first Kingsman movie with Colin Firth. So
it doesn't feel like it was directed by the same guy that did Kingsman at all. Like if he really wanted to reinvent the genre, Kingsman is where he did it. I don't know why he thought that he could reinvent it again, and even at that, I don't know what he presented that would change the genre. Do you know what I mean? Like there was nothing really presented, nothing done in a particular way that was like, whoa, this is genre defining or genre bending or anything like that.
No, not a thing. Like I said, I referred to Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies. To me, that's reinvented the genre. Sorry, no, strike that, reverse it. That's Tom Cruise elevating the genre.
Mm-hmm. He's setting the bar for it.
Yes, this movie does not reach anywhere near it. And back to the whole idea that when Bryce Dallas Howard, Ellie Conway, she's watching Sam Rockwell doing a whole bunch of tomfoolery, fighting, being all clumsy about it, still pulling himself up by his bootstraps while having time to make a quick comment and yeah, it's okay, she didn't hurt me that bad, or you know what I mean. You can do that for Henry Cavill in the Argylle world, he just takes out a bad guy and says a cool, slick, funny line, or in between fighting guys in a big action scene, you can make a quick comment or a funny remark, or you can wink at the camera. But not Sam Rockwell's character, because that's just the same thing, except he's just supposed to be the clumsier one, and the idea still that she blinks her eyes and it's him, Henry Cavill as Argylle. But no, why is she looking at, why is them anyway? It's not as if they're supposed to be the yin and yang, because they're actually not, and we can get that. We can get into that in a minute. But for me, right, why is she seeing Henry Cavill take out all these guys in his perfect perfectionist way, unfazed, and then she blinks again and it's Sam Rockwell.
I think it's supposed to be like that her memories are coming back, that she's remembering, but then it does raise the question, like you were saying, Sam Rockwell isn't Agent Argylle.
No,
he is John Cena's character and she is Agent Argylle. So it makes sense at a later stage when she's like talking to herself in the mirror, because she's kind of talking to two sides of herself. But when she sees Sam Rockwell being him, that then it just confuses it. Like, I guess, was it there to be a false lead for people to think like, oh, is he the real Agent Argylle? Because that was a whole part of the marketing, in that the end of every trailer was like, it's time for you to meet the real Agent Argylle. So if that hadn't been in that, is there really I think people going into it are set up for waiting for this twist, and so he's leaving breadcrumbs, or false breadcrumbs, to see who the real Agent Argylle is. I just don't think that worked in any sense when he's supposed to be the John Cena character.
First things first, when she's talking to Argylle in the mirror, and then she starts seeing him from that point on in a couple of reflections, and he's talking to her as if he's her imaginary friend, but it didn't feel like it was her imaginary friend. It was what her memory's trying to reach out to her and convince her, remind her who she is. That, and seeing him play the perfect poster boy of the spy when she's blinking back and forth between him and Sam Rockwell, I agree, it didn't work. And even before that, right, at the start of the movie, when she's about to write her next book, and she's going about it looking at her miniature model of Argylle. What do you say, buddy? Ready for a next chapter? What do you say, buddy? We'll get this book written out. Mm-hmm. That felt like, well, first it didn't felt like, it was just fucking shit dialogue. Mm-hmm. Like, maybe if she was talking to the cat, Alfie, yeah, okay, maybe. But if what I think they should have done is Argylle should have been an imaginary friend to Ellie from the start. So, for example, we're in the real world after seeing the opening sequence with the in-book world. She's reading out the book, she's talking to the audience, giving answers, and they can foreshadow what would you do if you actually met, I don't know, Argylle, but then actually she sees him standing in the corner because, I don't know, she's a bit loony that she actually talks to Argylle. That can, based on this movie and what it was, I would have accepted that.
Yeah, at least that would have been a little bit more clear that, he's always there, he's always trying to break through or something like that, but it's only ever since Sam Rockwell.
It started. See, she was talking to, the miniatures as if, but they should have had Henry Cavill there with Ellie in the room as she writes the next chapter, not in-world book, because they only started that when Sam Rockwell came aboard, and then I guess now she can just talk to Argylle as if she always has.
Yeah,
I didn't like that, and like I said, if they just introduced that at the start, I would have accepted it, and I would have, at least we had that going for her. I kind of would have then gotten on board with the idea that Ellie, she's on her own, but she's got this imaginary angel on her left shoulder, sort of giving her confidence, and talking like that.
If it had been that, then it would have actually, you kind of unlocked something in my head there. If it had been Argylle, and like that, he's an imaginary friend, and he's giving her little tips. Do you like, put your head down here, or like, lift your left hand or something to block something or whatever. And it's actually her kind of muscle memory, but it's presented in a way that he's giving her tips on what to do, but it's actually herself.
Yeah, and then that can be her memories trying to tell her what to do. But
exactly, as opposed to the scene where he just punches her and all of a sudden she's unlocked, and she, like how you described it, like Neo, who's like, I know kung fu, like all of a sudden she knows it all.
Dude, give me a second to just explain this next issue I have with the movie. I know I said I would have gotten on board with this movie if they had done a few extra scenes, but I don't think it would have saved my criticism on the fact that, she's been informed, shockingly, she's Agent Argylle. Mm-hmm. Agent Kelly, Agent Rachel Kyle.
Rachel Kyle.
Wow. Who'd have thunk? Mm-hmm. So she's going out, probably the best acting of the movie in this one scene where she's shouting at Sam Rockwell and he's, shouting back at her, Jesus, Sam Rockwell, he won an Academy Award because he walked across the street drunkenly and threw a kid out the window. So just bear in mind, he's capable of giving a great performance. Not here, but still this scene. And, overall, I don't like Eddie Conway. I miss Rachel Kyle, so gives her the keys. Alright, she's going to take the keys. Slow motion, he's going to punch her. What's she going to do? She's going to fucking Karate Kid. Deflects it, stops it. Yeah, you want to dance? Just have a bit of a fight, It's like that ninja dude fighting Neo in The Matrix to see if he's worthy of fighting, to see if how good is he. So Bryce Dallas Howard is she's like been unlocked somehow because her instincts of self-defense and fighting opponents in hand-to-hand combat is like coming through like a button has been switched, and it's like, and she looks at her hands, whoa, if it was a Marvel movie, you put some fucking glowy light on her hands, whoa, I can fuck shit up now. And that, I'm not done, David. Going forward later in the movie, the ice skating scene, so and I'll get ahead of myself with the action scene where it's a whole bunch of smoke and they're shooting everyone while they dance. But the ice skate, this is more relevant in the ice skating scene, because she asked Sam Rockwell, "Wait a minute, in my file it said that I was an ice skater. Is that true?" "Oh yeah, you can ice skate." "Well, great. I haven't done it in 5 years, but wow, I'll just go do that, and I'll fucking do ice skating like Margaret Robbie 10 times over in I, Tonya. But it's on oil. Slap some knives on her boots, and she can just, pull an Argylle by, and when I mean Argylle, I mean in book Argylle, so she can just go around with a knife and just kill everyone, and it's just, she can just, whoa, just because I've been told I can ice skate like a fucking legend. I can fuck shit up. If that was in the book, then yes, that's how I would have wanted it to be. Heightened reality. Because that just does not fucking work. And didn't like that either, David.
Yeah. Do you want to jump into some flashbacks before we go any further?
I need a break, yeah.
Yeah, okay, brilliant. Laura, play that jingle for us. Thank you, Laura. So, we have some flashbacks for this movie. You're going to notice a theme amongst these flashbacks, Brian. I want to see if you can point it out. So, flashback number 1. Something you actually brought up a little bit earlier. So, flashback number 1. Matthew Vaughn cast Henry Cavill because he needed someone who was born to play James Bond, which Henry Cavill is, and then nick him before Bond Studio did. Did you know that Cavill was actually a finalist to play Bond in Casino Royale, but was rejected because he was too young? He was 22 at the time.
Yeah, I knew he was up for Bond. He was also running up for Superman before Brandon Routh, and lo and behold, he got to play Superman afterwards. And, people are, will Henry Cavill play Bond now? Henry Cavill will never play Bond.
No, I think this is the closest he got to playing Bond in the suave Argylle in the books, that opening scene.
Honestly, it feels like a caricature of Bond.
A caricature of him, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. This will be the closest, and it's not the best. Watch him in the trailer, Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. That's not Bond either, but that's a fun heightened reality that I can get into. Not Argylle, the screen set.
Flashback number 2. This is the 4th spy movie for Henry Cavill. The other 3 are The Cold Light of Day, The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and Mission Impossible Fallout.
Yeah, The Man of U.N.C.L.E. was a good one. That was Guy Ritchie. Yeah, Guy Ritchie, he's making use of that Cavill.
He's underutilized. He needs to be in more stuff.
Yeah. I seen him in Cold Light of Day. That was the first movie I saw of Henry Cavill before he was cast as Superman. And of course, he probably was the best villain in the Mission Impossible franchise. Possibly.
I'd argue there with Philip Seymour Hoffman, but he's a close second. He's a close second for me.
You know what? I might just agree with you. Philip Seymour Hoffman was what he was, but Henry Cavill was the brute. You know what I mean? He had a signature. He had a signature move as well. He can pull you by one side and throw you over his shoulder. That was his signature move. But enough on the Mission Impossible franchise.
And then flashback number 3. Did you know that Henry Cavill is allergic to cats?
No wonder the cat was CGI.
Yeah, that cat was painfully CGI in the movie. I don't think there was a single scene where I believed the cat was there.
But there was a real life cat.
Was there? Are you sure?
Yeah. Wikipedia says so.
Well, it doesn't. It didn't feel at all like there was a cat anywhere on set. Like, I couldn't think of a single scene where maybe when it was sat in the thing when she was writing the book.
I don't know, David. The cat looked fucking CGI to me throughout the movie.
It looked CGI.
But there was a real life cat there.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it felt like they were using the cat as a signature connotation when looking at like media posters or something like that. In fact, David, the very first like teaser sizzle I saw of Argylle was not just the main trailer. It was like a 30-second or so or 20-second clip, like a I don't know. It was the scene where Sam Rockwell and Bryce Dallas Howard on the roof, and he throws a cat off the roof, and Bryce Dallas Howard's reaction of catching it. So when I saw that, I thought, out of all the ensemble actors you're introducing us first, it's those two. Where's Henry Cavill, the guy who I thought at the time was supposed to be Argylle, the main character? But He is Argylle, but he's not the main character. In fact, you look at the poster of this movie, you have Henry Cavill in the middle holding the cash, who he never comes into contact with the entire movie. And to his left and right is Dua Lipa, who's in less than 5 minutes of the movie, and Sam Jackson, who doesn't have a screen sharing with Henry Cavill or Bryan Cranston. And then after them two, you have the 2 lead characters, Sam Rockwell and Bryce Dallas Howard.
Interesting marketing, absolutely. For a second there, I thought possibly the cat was Agent Argylle, but
I thought based on the significance of the cat in all the marketing and the imagery, I thought so too. But no, not the case.
And that, Brian, brings an end to our Henry Cavill facts section of this episode. Laura, play us out of here. Thank you, Laura. So moving slightly away from the actual kind of plot of the movie and the issues we had with that, talk about some of the ensemble cast. So we have the likes of Bryan Cranston, Sam Jackson, Catherine O'Hara,
John Cena.
Who else had we?
Dua Lipa, Sofia Boutella, who was in no marketing. She's Rebel Moon, is what she is.
Oh, she's Rebel Moon. That's where I've seen her most recently. I was trying to think where I've seen her recently. Yeah, she's in Rebel Moon as well.
I was thinking. I compare this movie for Matthew Vaughn to Rebel Moon to Zack Snyder, and I liked Rebel Moon more.
That's fair, absolutely. Yeah, that it's an attempt to redefine the genre, but in actual fact doesn't do anything different and is actually a slightly worse presentation of the thing that we all liked.
But at least we're getting part 2 of Rebel Moon to get that fulfilling chapter.
Yeah, that's one to look forward to, I say, with high hopes and fingers crossed.
Argyle's perceived to be a trilogy.
Interesting. I mean, like, I couldn't see really where you go after it. It seems like it's tied up in a nice little bow. Maybe, sorry, I say nice little bow maybe 30 seconds before the end of the film. But before we get to that, so talk me through the big 3 then. We have Bryan Cranston, Sam Jackson and Catherine O'Hara. How did you find those 3? Because I have to say, Bryan Cranston's one of my favourite actors. Sam Jackson, also great actor. I feel like Sam Jackson, no matter how bad the movie is, never phones in a performance. He's always there. He's always there to act. You know, he might be playing very, very wildly different characters, but he's always giving it something. You know, he's never phoning in on a day. Like, for him, that's a day he's filming.
Fuck, you're right. It could be a day's film. Well, I don't know, maybe 2 days or something like that, because he really is in just the one costume in the one location.
Walking from the house to the garage.
Yeah, that's it.
And then sitting at the desk.
Talking about how the origin of a certain type of grape and how that grape is a metaphor to Ellie Conway's suppressed memories as a secret agent. I always, that if there's as the story beat or the story trope of a character discussing something, and that something is a metaphor for what is actually happening to another character or in relation to the plot. If there's ever something like that really just was like on the nose, that took the biscuit. But it came from Sam Jackson, so that's okay. I did like Bryan Cranston because of what Bryan Cranston is capable of doing, but I didn't like how I could probably do a TikTok of just Bryan Cranston standing in that one position at the top of the steps in that control room while he shouts angry directions to how his crew and employees are just doing everything wrong and how they're shite, and he's just giving out and having a hissy fit. I could do a TikTok of just all that. Like a montage of Bryan Cranston giving out the fuck. I did not really see the plot twist of Ellie's parents actually not being her parents. I did see it coming a scene or 2 beforehand that who her father really was, because they kept on mentioning who her father was, but we never see them. And then we're trying to set up the scene. No, don't answer the door. It's just your father. Oh, who's going to be Sam Rockwell because she thinks he's going to kill her. Opens the door. Oh my god, it's the villain of the movie, Bryan Cranston. He's wearing normal clothes for some reason, but okay. Oh, is it? No, it's a Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming.
You guys, Michael Keaton moment.
Yeah, he's the father because she smiles and says dad. And now I thought it was Dialogue aside, I thought some of Bryan Cranston's movements was funny. Like, soon he's conning his so-called daughter to, oh, do you have that book? And he goes over to the island to grab the book out of the bag, and he just shoves the calf off the thing. Like I remember you sort of chuckled at that. That was kind of funny. I don't condone violence against cats or anything, but you know, but he was. I like. It was a funny moment, and
as soon as he entered that room, I felt like he was channeling Hal from Malcolm in the Middle back again. The way he was kind of walking around the room and moving and
slenched. It was a sloped back, and you know, walking with his hands moving like this. You know, like an old man or something like that. Yeah, he was channeling his inner Hal. But Catherine O'Hara, yeah, the mom from Home Alone. That's crazy. And that's her, right?
That's her, yeah. No, I thought initially when I was watching the trailers that she was going to be the Agent Argylle of it all. That she was the that she was getting the books early and she was committing the crimes before they were published, and that's why she was so eager to get her to keep writing. But then that was just from the trailers. That was just from the marketing. And then as soon as the we heard about the accident.
She's a British villain. Now, I did like how he shot this and how he edited this. Sam Rockwell bursts in and points the gun at Bryan Cranston, and he's just pretending a little bit. Oh, I have money. Please don't hurt me. Please don't hurt me. But then he drops the facade quite quickly. Enough of this. And then Catherine O'Hara, as the mom, you know, arm around Ellie's neck, puts a gun to her face, slow motion. She speaks in a British tone now, and the way this slow motion was done with Bryce Dallas Howard looking over at a mother, staring at her, what? Because you just heard her speak British, and then slowly looking down at the gun. There's a gun at her face, and then her eyes just opening up. And yeah, I thought that was funny. But
funny, I didn't like any of the slow-mo.
No. When I say slow-mo, I literally only mean that's just that one scene there, with Ellie's reaction, realizing that her mother, so-called mother, has a gun to her face.
Yeah, I felt it was overused throughout the movie.
No, yeah, I agree. But in that one scene, I liked it.
In the one scene, it was fine. It was just used. It was used way too often, and it was used to like punctuate these things. But the things that it were punctuating just felt like completely normal things, and that they were not worth the slow-mo. Like, it happened in that scene where she like brought the gun to her, and then there was the scene where he dropped the cat and she reached out for it. Yeah. And I was like, okay, I could see, but like there's nothing big happening in this slow motion shot. And then even when Bryan Cranston came in and he went to put his hands on her shoulders, and you think that maybe he's coming to strangle her, but he just puts his hand on the shoulders. It's just, you know, like, what?
Yeah,
those, if you're going to do it in slow-mo, it needed to be more exaggerated to emphasize it.
I didn't mind it when he dropped the cat off the roof, but alright, come on, like, what's the point of putting the hands over their shoulders? Alright. But that's actually the least of my issues with it. My main issues I've already echoed. Maybe I can echo a bit more in the use of green screen and CGI, but maybe I shouldn't, because those poor folks are overworked and underpaid and definitely not appreciated. But definitely too much for it, especially for the padding runtime of this movie. Not needed.
It's very long. It's very, very long.
Yeah, 2 hours and 10 minutes, 20 minutes?
2:20, I think.
Yeah, too long.
I think if it had been cut down to a good, solid hour 40, it would have been a lot more digestible. But it just took so long. And it's not even like there were huge moments. Like, I'd say, what would I cut out? And I would say, I don't know what I would cut out, but just a bit more of a faster pace, I think. Because it is a spy. Because it is that you want to get to stuff a bit quicker. But it was a slog to get through. And if you're not on board, like someone like yourself, like I accepted it a little bit. Like at the beginning when the whole Henry Cavill Argylle, like the book, we were watching that, I was like, okay, this is the world that we're in. I can accept this. If this is what it's going to be, I can accept that. But then that bled over into the real world, so it became harder to accept, and it got harder and harder the more cartoonish it got, because we were no longer in the book world. Like when it got to the fight sequence with the smoke and them dancing and shooting people, I was like, okay, this is, in what world are these guys fair enough they have the masks on, but in what world are these guys they're fighting not trained and wouldn't have gas masks on them, and they're getting away with dancing and shooting them all in the head, and then it's directly followed by the ice skating scene, which is just way over the top cartoonish. It's just beyond cartoonish. That should be in the book.
Even the oil, it was oil, and it wasn't ice. It was oil, and it was CGI oil as well. And when your man goes to step on the oil, he slips. That was fake as fuck. And my biggest takeaway of this movie, it is just a cartoon, and not in a good way. This is just it's just very cartoonish. I didn't like. What a waste! What a waste as well. And I thought maybe it was going to pick up once Sam Rockwell bursted into the room, and you realise the parents are the bad guys who faked it. But even then, that was a stretch. Like, you convince someone who you are, and you believe that for 5 minutes, and I'm a writer, and I'll write all this shit out.
Even that main premise is kind of hard to swallow as well. That it's just completely accepted that she is. I suppose in a way, it's. Sorry, I'm contradicting myself because I figured out that. So the main premise is that she's going to write the future and predict where would have gone, and I can understand it's actually because she's writing her memories.
Yeah.
But at a point, it does become like, you're going to write the next chapter, and like stuff that she's going to predict, or what would she do next or anything. So
yes,
it is kind of a bit of a stretch that she is supposed to be writing stuff that she might not know at all, and she's just guessing, and they're completely taking it on blind faith, and it's just like, that's where it is, and we have to get whatever she's going to write next.
Honestly, in summary, this movie was just a whole bunch of style with a complete lack of substance. Yeah.
I think that he does this style also a lot better in a lot of other movies, whether it be the Kingsman movies.
Kick-Ass. X-Men 1, First Class. So, he does. Now, did you like Kingsman 2? The fucking Pedro Pascal one?
Not as much as the first one, but I still enjoy a lot of aspects of it.
Did you watch The King's Man with Ralph Fiennes?
I did, and I didn't like that as much as the other two either.
Right.
But I still enjoyed aspects of it.
This is just not it for him, and it wasn't worth it. And I thought, please, Sam Rockwell, be the Pedro Pascal of the Kingsman 2, but he just wasn't that. Like, even that scene where they're in the apartment and he thinks Ellie, who at first didn't want anything to do with the whole spy thing because she's a fish out of water, as she doesn't remember yet, but then all of a sudden she's taken further over interest in trying to find a clue, and he's just trying to leave. So wait a minute, you're the spy, she's the fish out of water who just wants to run and hide. Why is she taking the over enthusiastic interest in trying to figure out this, as if she was on board with it from the get-go? I just don't like how Sam Rockwell, you want to waste time, let's waste time, hey, you want to dance, let's dance. He does a little dance for a few seconds too long, and he steps as part of his dance, and he feels a thud, because you now have just walked a bit, taking one step, and you heard the thud instead of just making that stupid thing about the dance and then trying to crush someone's head. It's just like the twist. Even the slow-mo at the end where she's doing the twist in the gold dress to kill him because she's been winter soldiered by some codes. And
Well, two things, right? Two things about what you said there. So the first one being that they go to the room where it's supposed to be, they're finding the phone or whatever, and they've been in it a minute, and he's like, come on, we have to go, we have to check these other ones, and he's like, dude, like, she's trying to find this, like I know you're in a rush, but like, you can spend more than a minute in the place. And then her ripping the wallpaper off the walls actually had nothing to do with him finding the thing. It's like, he could have walked across the room, like you said, exactly, and found the exact same thing. It was just a very stupid, convoluted thing of, I'm going to rip all the wallpaper off the walls. And he's like, okay, well, in that case, then I'm going to do something stupid like a dance. And then he finds it. And it's like, okay, what was the wallpaper at all to do? It was just, that was stupid. And then second of all, the fight at the end between the two. I was thinking about this earlier when we said about what if, Argylle had been her like imaginary friend the whole time.
Yeah.
At that moment where he's fighting, if at that moment where he's fighting, the two of them, Sam Rockwell and Bryce Dallas Howard, are fighting. If when she kind of got that brainwashed moment and she points the gun at him, if at that point then it was actually a fight between Sam Rockwell and Henry Cavill, I would have actually liked that a bit more, because it's like Argylle has taken over her completely, do you know? And she has like all of the... I just would have liked to see that a bit more than the fake fighting of Sam Rockwell and Bryce Dallas Howard.
It was very fake, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's just like it's all of a sudden now I'm activated, you can't beat me at all, and it was just a little bit hard to believe. I suppose it might have been a little bit easier to believe if it was a visual representation of him fighting Henry Cavill. It's a little bit more believable of that he can't beat her, but he could barely land a punch on Bryce Dallas Howard, and that just didn't seem believable based on all the fighting he had done before. It was just a bit... I would have just liked that a bit more, to have like an unlocked version of Argylle, and it be Henry Cavill versus Sam Rockwell, just for that one scene, do you know? But like we always say, if we want to change scenes and rewrite stuff, we should have wrote it from the start. It is hard to write films, so...
Thank you for reminding me of that, and listeners, that is definitely something I love to stand by. If I wanted to have changed something in this, I should do it myself from the get-go.
Yeah.
Look, it's not easy. Look, it's not. Yeah, it's not easy making a movie. Of course, it's not. But I paid for it and I watched it, and this is my opinion. So
yeah, I think it's a movie that can be a lot of fun. Like, to be honest, when we finished up and I was standing outside, I was waiting. You had went to the bathroom and there was a guy there, and a guy said, he said to his kids, he's like, "What do you think of that?" And they were like, "Yeah, it was good." And he was like, "I love that. I thought that was brilliant." So some guy really, really enjoyed it. And I think that it's not difficult for people to enjoy it at all. If you're going in, that kind of opening scene sets the tone. Like, just imagine this for the entire film. Like, go in, don't expect a whole lot. Don't expect the movie to change your life or anything like that, but you can have fun with it. You can sit down and enjoy it and have fun, but it's not going to be for everyone.
No, I represent that part of the camp, definitely. Mm-hmm. It's not for everyone. Even worse, David, and I really need to echo this fact. I realised that this movie was using the newly released Beatles music now and then. It is classed as the official final song from the Beatles, and we listen to it play, in the overtune, like the characters can't hear it, but then later it's played as a song in like a ballroom, and Bryce Dallas Howard and Sam Rockwell are dancing, and he says, "Oh, this is our song." And I'm thinking, wait a minute, that Beatles song, that came out in around November 2023. Them two have not been together in 5 years, and before 5 years they were together for however long, and when they were in a relationship they were together. So what's the crack here? Because
when is this movie set? Yeah.
Yes. Well, it's with no reason to expect that it's set in none other than 2022 or 2020. No, sorry. No, it's 2023. That's how I take it. Mm-hmm. But it's been 5 years, and it's been, let's say, a couple of years before that, and they're listening to a song to a class iconic band that the song was not released yet. So I'm thinking, you're not fooling anyone here, Matthew Vaughn.
Mm-hmm.
You can't.
Well, he's not fooling Agent B. Rogers anyway.
You're not fucking fooling this Beatle fan. This movie did not deserve to have that song in it. And it's a nice little old-fashioned Beatles song, but I definitely didn't deserve that. But I did like the Boy George Electric Energy song. That's a good tune. I like that.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to take some positive out of it, even if it is just one song.
Yeah. What do you think of Ariana DeBose? Oscar winning Ariana DeBose.
Like, she was fine, really. It was
her her biggest contribution to this movie is that Electric Energy song with Boy George, not the character she plays.
Yeah, like as soon as they had that whole thing about the email, like, and an email from a super fan, I was going to bring her back. I was like, okay, so this character's coming back. Like, it felt like the subtle foreshadowing throughout the movie in every aspect was actually just like hitting your head over the hammer. Like, I was going to bring her back. Yes, okay, so expect to see her back at some point in the movie. It just, there was no subtlety throughout, so I didn't have much of an opinion on her, to be honest. Like, we saw her, pull up in the car and then pull up in the speedboat. Like, she wasn't really much of a character to talk about, you know?
It's just funny that because she created this character, from her conscience, but it's a character in a book, and she sees a picture of the real life person, and she, wait, is that? Yep. If I write a story and I think of a character and I see a picture of a person and they might have the same hair color or skin color as that character, but they're not gonna be, because you can't picture a person in your head and it's gonna be that person in real life. And not because they draw up from memories, because it's just not something I don't think people can do. So just they're really extending that line of grounded reality.
I don't know about you, but I'm ready to put a nail in the coffin of Argylle. Do you think we'll get a sequel? Do you think there'll be a second and a third?
Don't care.
Don't care. Yeah, well,
no.
That pretty much sums it up. Have you got a recommendation for us before we go say goodbye to the people?
David, I have a class recommendation. I don't know if you've been watching it. I don't know if you've been watching this, but I have started watching the newly released Amazon Prime show, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, with Donald Glover and, the poor girl, Maya Erskine? Maya Erskine, let's call her. I have not seen her in anything else. She's been in a few things, but of course we all know Donald Glover. Childish Gambino. A new take on Mr. and Mrs. Smith. 8 episodes. I have watched 3 episodes now, and this is a show where every time I'm watching it, I have no need to go on my phone to, as everyone does do. I see this as the elevated work that Donald Glover is capable of doing after his days of Atlanta. I think that these two characters, John Smith and Jane Smith, work so well together. Just seeing them talk on screen as they get their mission of the episode, and it's not like a very heightened reality, unbelievable drawn out mission. It's quite simple in a lot of things, and it's just nice to see it. I am actually not worthy of myself to talk about how great this show is, but fuck, David, you gotta start watching Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It's not even like a remake of the movie with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie. It's a reboot. And what I mean by reboot, it's almost like you can. Yeah, it's the same name, but you can just, it's almost like completely different. If you saw the movie, it's definitely not a rehash of the movie. It's something different. And
good.
If you haven't started watching it, start watch it. And the biggest shame of it is all episodes were released in the one day.
Oh, okay. There's no.
I don't know why they didn't have the confidence to build momentum for a course of 8 weeks, but Jesus, I was thinking to myself, why is Donald Glover considered to be so busy and yet he's barely in anything? Well, if it's because of this high quality, hard to make content, I'm grateful to have it.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, it's definitely. Laura and I will probably be looking for something to watch soon anyway, so that'll be top of the list. I'll take your recommendation on board for that.
100% that. 100%. Just to stay in the vein of the spy genre.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. I'm not going to stay in the same vein as the spy genre. I'm going to go with a movie I watched during the week, and I've been watching a lot of Oscar nominated stuff just in the kind of build up to our Oscar predictions podcast that we're going to be doing now in the next couple of weeks. So just making sure that I've seen everything in multiple categories. And in the animation category, I watched a film called Nimona, and I thought it was very, very good. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was. I had no idea what it was about. It's crazy. I was actually, when I was looking at it, I was like, this is on the level of a Disney movie. Like this, I bet Disney are raging that this isn't one of their movies, because it has a great message, a great story, great animation. Like everything about it was just like, this is so much better than anything Disney's put out in a long time. And then I found out that it actually is, it was a Disney movie. It was under Blue Sky Animation when they acquired Fox.
Yeah.
And they cut it.
Yeah, because we don't want two men kissing in this, so they completely just threw it out, discarded it, rejected it. I don't know if Netflix got it and completed it, but thank you, Netflix. I want a sequel. I seen it. I seen Nimona. I have a list on my letterbox of top 5 Netflix animated movies. It's on there. It's great. I really do want a sequel, or even I could do even a live action take on it, but specifically because Nimona just feels like such a lovable character, and there's so much more I want to know about her as a character.
Yeah. So, I look forward to talking about it in depth in our Oscar podcast. We'll be able to go into some of the story elements and stuff. But if you don't know what it's about, I'd recommend just watching it. It was an interesting time period and all that kind of stuff. And I that's my recommendation for the week.
Fuck you, Disney.
But so Bryan, thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the podcast. To the listeners, if you've made it this far, thank you very, very much for listening. We appreciate it. Make sure that you are subscribed to us. Make sure that you are following us on all our social media. We are on Instagram. We are on TikTok. We are on Twitter. We're on Letterboxd now as well. If you want to follow us on there, we post all of the films that we've watched, as well as lists containing, our topic episodes and stuff like that. Speaking of topics, if you'd like to send us in one, make sure to send us an email at talkingpicturespodcast1@gmail.com. All of our links and stuff will be down in the description below, so you have no excuse not to find us. If you give us 5 stars as well, we'd really appreciate that. Costs you nothing, gives us everything. And you know what? Share it with a friend. If you have a friend who's looking for a podcast, they like films and stuff, why not recommend ours? Simple. Easy.
Not a bad Wednesday waffle, David.
Bryan, thank you.